It's my privilege to present the 2017 Outstanding Teacher Awards. As you know, there are 3 categories: Outstanding Workshop Facilitation, a New Teacher Award, and the Outstanding Teacher Award. And we invite each recipient to comment on their awards. So, to start off, Outstanding Workshop Facilitation Award from Professional and Continuing Studies, Fiona Prince.
Thank you very much. I have an odd story to tell you about what prompted me to become a teacher, and also a thank you to all of you. So first, I'd like to tell you that in grade 9, I woke up to the idea of teaching when my grade 9 English teacher, Mrs. Huntington, found a very innovative way of stopping a couple of very disruptive boys from interrupting the class. It was the 1970s, and mini skirts were in fashion. And Mrs. Huntington was very cute. And she brought the 2 boys to the front of the class. She put them in the front row, and she sat on the corner of her desk, and she crossed her legs. Those boys never, ever disrupted the class again. They sat in rapt attention while Mrs. Huntington taught to the rest of us. And I know how politically incorrect this is right now. And I can tell you that I have never used any tactic like that to help disruptive learners focus on what's important. But my eyes were opened that day to say, if you can actually take the people who are disinterested and you can give them something to be interested in, and then you can teach to the people who want to learn, what a gift. So I came home from school and I said to Mom, I want to be a grade 9 English teacher. And she said, what happened to being a vet? Anyway. So that's my story, and I did have the opportunity to tell Mrs. Huntington that story when I graduated from grade 12, so she knows about it, so I thought that was very special. Also, I want to echo what Jerry Kelly was saying about all of you being so important, because I'm sure many of you have heard the story of the janitor in NASA who was once asked, what did he do every day? And he said, I help put people on the moon. So every single one of you helps people get an education, but it's more than that. It's helping them advance in their personal and professional and academic lives, and it truly is life-changing. So I want to thank all of you for that. And I want to thank the folks in professional and continuing studies and contract training, and they're all over there at that table, who give me the place and the space to do what I do, because I truly get up in the morning to teach people and to help improve their lives. And to my sister who came from Calgary to see me get this award, she taught me something very important a long time ago, and that was that people need to think of you kindly in order to hear what you have to say. And so that is something that I really do keep in mind, especially when I'm not having a great day. So thank you for that, Deb. And to my husband, Ron, who supports me always and vets all my materials and lets me practice on them and is right now helping me with my own studies in technology-enhanced learning and design. So thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Fiona. The New Teacher Award from the School of Humanitarian Studies, Marnie Jewell. Marnie?
Thank you, everybody. Winning an award like this has really been an opportunity for me to enter into a time of reflection and gratitude. And I've been thinking a lot about my grandmother, who was a wonderful teacher in a very, one-room schoolhouse and in Calgary. And when I was small, she introduced me to the joys and challenges of problem-based learning by teaching me to read and teaching me to ride a bicycle. And so I went from that wobbly learner to a master in a few weeks. And she taught me so much that I'm very grateful for what she's given to me. And I want to acknowledge my mom, who is here, and as a wonderful teacher and a lifelong learner. She was very excited to see the tuition assistance policy. I think she'll be knocking on the door. And who's been a wonderful companion and my biggest fan in this journey of life. And I also have a chance to be very grateful for my colleagues and friends in the School of Humanitarian Studies, for Eva, who has been tremendously supportive for this journey that I've been on, and for my colleagues of Michael and Jean and Robin and Kathleen and Athena and is our newest member, and for Colleen and for Lori and Jennifer's administrative wizardry and Ken. And I had a chance to reflect on this, that even when we're having our very difficult school conversations, or whether we're having our epic fails in escaping from the escape room for our team building, I've grown a lot from the hard conversations as well as the joyful ones about our shared values around student learning and academic success. And so I want to thank you for the inspiration and support that you've offered, as well as for the team coaching and the CTET and Eric from the instructional design. There's no way this happens as a activity of a lone wolf, that this is truly a team effort. Particularly in teaching skills around conflict resolution, I don't think of it about resolution anymore, because we talk now more, particularly with community and organizational and interpersonal conflict. It's about how do we build our conflict capacity? How do we lean into conflict for what it has to teach us, and so that we can change the patterns of cooperation interpersonally and organizationally to flourish. So how do we hold the tension? How do we maintain curiosity and choice in the face of threat? Those are lifelong practices that I'm still learning as I'm teaching. And so I'm grateful for the 2 cohorts of students that nominated me for this award and got a chance to work together in thinking through what matters to them about teaching. So that's been something that's been very meaningful to me. And so I'm grateful to be here on this land, for the peoples that came before us and the people that will follow us in this journey of learning that we're on. And I particularly wanted to thank you, Dr. Kelly, for this very visionary and generous award, that you bring us together for a chance to celebrate something very meaningful, and gives us a chance to be grateful and to celebrate. So thank you.
Both Fiona and Marnie have mentioned about the lasting impact that teachers would have on their students. A friend of mine called the other day and said, you've got to share this with people. What she said was that there was a knock on her door. She lives on an acreage nearby here. By the way, she was an English and drama teacher in junior high school about 25, 30 years ago. And a knock on her door, and the chap looked at her and said, "Am I ever glad I found you?" He said, "For 30 years, I've been meaning to thank you for the wonderful work you did as my teacher when I was in grade 8. And so they sat down and chatted for a while. She told him that she was riddled with cancer, wasn't quite sure what to do. It so happens this fellow is one of the outstanding cancer specialists in Canada. The next day, he put her on his own private plane, took her over to Vancouver, and said, "I'm with you all the way." Yeah. So, and you keep hearing stories like this. I could tell several others, but let's move on. The Outstanding Teacher Award from the School of Communication and Culture, Virginia McKendry. Virginia.
Thank you so much, everyone. I feel like this is an analog for my teaching. I had a beautifully scripted speech prepared. I've left it could be a breakout room, maybe the office, and you've all stolen my material. So we shall do what my beloved elder teachers from Beecher Bay have taught me to do, which is just relax, know that I'm enough, I'm in the right place with the right people, and that the words will come. That story you just told reminded me of the teachers who have so shaped my life, and dare I say it, maybe saved my life, and how knowledge opened my world when my world seemed really small and my opportunities seemed, very limited. And it was those key teachers that had shown up, like at a very young age, the old people that let you sit around at the dinner table and don't tell you it's time for bed. And they're telling stories, and they're kind of ignoring you, but they know you're there, and you start becoming aware of the history of where you live and where your people came from. And those people in the teachers who I had in school, who I was a precocious little kid, and I was way too, questioning for the kind of curriculum schools had, and they sort of put up with me. I was so disruptive with why. But they let me go, and I'm grateful to those people. I remember Mr. Kemp, who was such a strict teacher in grade 9, but the most beautiful storyteller, and he would stand there. He looked like he was from the Edwardian era, so, like prim and proper. But then he would close his eyes and start recounting his travels, and all of a sudden social studies was amazing. And he got me involved in stamp collecting and all kinds of, these teachers that we come across. And the teachers that I had in undergrad, when I finally went to school as an adult learner, I think I was 27 when I started. And if it weren't for Veronica Strongbow and Marilyn Stewart, I wouldn't even know what graduate school was. Like, they said, "Where are you going to graduate school?" And I said, "What's that?" And here I am. So they were all teachers who taught in that oblique way. They notice a kid, they notice a young person, they see something in that person, they have a feeling about that person, and they also know that it's not their job to tell that person where they're going to go or what they're going to learn, but they give you the keys, right? They give you the keys to the car. And that's what I try to do with my students. That's what I've always tried to do. I had trouble doing it until I came to Royal Roads. I found that being a teacher in the other places where I worked was rewarding, but we always ended up at the point of critique and criticism and analysis, but there was nothing we could do with that, right? And I had given up on teaching in academia until somebody I knew said, "There's this weird place out on the West Coast, and they have like this job going. I think you should go for it." I went, and I had just updated my CV for something else the night before, and I went, "Oh, what the heck?" So I threw it in there, and, like in 2010, I came here, and it's just perfect. It's the perfect place for putting all those disjointed pieces together, because we don't just do criticism and analysis, we also do creativity and world making. And to be like in a room of, 40 people who are way smarter than me, who are out there doing cool stuff in the world already, and to be that person, it's so neat. We've got some people in residency right now. They're all experts in their field, and yet they're willing to make themselves so vulnerable in these classrooms. And they look to us for the leadership, to show them a few of the moves that could change, turn them into people who can constantly be changing their own lives because we gave them the keys to the car. So it's those people that give my life so much meaning, and I just couldn't be more grateful to this place for centering teaching the way you do and doing it in this applied model, and in a way where we don't reject research either, like we bring it all together and integrate it. And what a beautiful thing to show to our students, because as you say, they take it out into the world, and we just keep doing our stuff, and the world just gets better. So primarily, I'm very grateful to the students and for them taking the time to put together the nomination. It's no easy feat. And so Johanna and the Hugh and Amy, wherever you are, thank you for doing the hard work, and thank you to your cohort for informing the nomination document. I'm so grateful to you. And I'm grateful to this village here, this complex system that without it we wouldn't be able to do our work. We had some technical problems yesterday in the classroom, and about 8 people descended and made it better. Right? Like, it just happened like that. And the students were willing to put up with it because they had been greeted so beautifully at every stage of their entry into this place. And they get hugs from total strangers when they go to the gardens, and it's like, it's good. You make us look good. So I thank you very much. And to my beautiful colleagues who are so generous with their, in talking about problems with teaching. I've never been around other professional educators who are willing to talk about our failures and how hard it is to do our work and to share ideas and to be really genuine and open and caring about each other. I so love that, and I love the way the staff and the faculty work together here. So I think about my dad, who died just when I started working here, and one of the last things he said to me, it's kind of a funny scene when I think about it, so he's standing there with his cane and his oxygen coming out of his nose and going, "Well, girl, I know you're feeling a little nervous and you're not sure if you can do this, but God damn it, you're 50 years old and you got what you need." And I think, got 50 years of experience, you got what you need, you're going to do good. And I think he'd be really proud today. And it's his spirit that I invoke whenever I don't know what to do in a classroom. He taught me how to improvise. He taught me to just sort of stand in your integrity, ask the good questions, have that goodwill with the people that you're with, and magical things will happen in that mystery that we call learning. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for nominating me this year. I have to say this. I just have to say congratulations to everybody else who was nominated for this award, because to know your students feel that way about you is just so sweet, and I just feel really a great deal of gratitude to be amongst you. Thank you.